Something shifted this week. Not dramatically, not with a crash or revelation or a message that changed everything. It was quieter than that. You woke up one morning and something inside you felt different. Like a room that had been holding its breath for months finally let the air out. Like something in your chest just quietly unclenched. You might not have words for it yet. That is okay. Your body found it before your mind did. You have been carrying something. Not just sadness. Not just the longing, though that has been there too. Something more physical than that. A low-level tension you stopped noticing because you had been holding it for so long, it started to feel like your normal. A kind of bracing. Like your whole body was waiting for a blow that might come or might not. And so you held yourself ready. Tight across the shoulders. Shallow in the breath. Alert in a way that exhausted you even when nothing was happening. And then this week, something in that started to release. You might not even be sure why. You might look around and think, nothing changed. He hasn't reached out. The situation is still the same. There is nothing concrete to point to. But your body doesn't need the concrete evidence your mind keeps asking for. Your body operates on a different kind of knowing. And it felt something shift. In the field. In the energy. In him. In you. In the space between you that holds more information than either of you has ever been able to put into language. If you are feeling that exhale, that quiet releasing, that sense of something finally starting to move, leave a like and subscribe so you don't miss what comes next. Drop "my body knows" in the comments to anchor this frequency. Something is happening. Let's talk about what it is. Before we go further, I want to mention something for those of you who feel like you need more than just a video right now. Because some of you are not just watching. You are sitting in the middle of one of the most disorienting spiritual experiences of your life. You know the journey is real. You know this connection is real. But you don't know where you are in it. You don't know what the timing looks like for you specifically. And that matters. That is exactly what the Twin Flame Union personal reading is for. You can get a deeply personal reading built on your birth chart, your exact time of birth, your specific astrological blueprint. Not a general reading, yours. What the planets say about your union, where you are in your journey right now, what karmic patterns are active in your connection, and what divine timing actually looks like for you. You get a personal audio reading delivered straight to your inbox, plus a detailed PDF you can return to again and again when the journey gets confusing. This is not a one-size-fits-all chart rundown. This is someone sitting with your energy and your cosmic signature and telling you the truth about what is happening in your specific story. The link is in the description. If you have been feeling like you need to understand your journey at a deeper level, that is not a coincidence. That is the nudge. Okay, let's go deeper. Today, March 20th, 2026, the sun moves into Aries. This is the Spring Equinox, the astrological new year, the moment the cosmos collectively takes a breath in before the first exhale of a new cycle. Day and night are equal today. That matters, not as a poetic metaphor, as an actual cosmic calibration. The scales balance, and then they tip. This is the same day Mercury stations direct. Mercury has been retrograde since February 26, almost a full month of backward motion through Pisces, the sign of dreams and dissolution, the sign of things you cannot quite name or see clearly. Mercury retrograde in Pisces has been a specific kind of fog, not the normal Mercury retrograde miscommunication and tech delays. This has been deeper than that. This has been the confusion of the soul, the kind where you don't know what you feel, where you reach for clarity and find only more questions, where your thoughts circle the same territory over and over without arriving anywhere new, where you wonder if you are imagining the connection, imagining his energy, imagining the whole thing. And today, that ends. Mercury stations direct. The fog begins to lift. Communication that has been blocked starts to move again. Information returns. Things that were hidden start to surface. And in twin flame journeys, specifically, Mercury direct after a retrograde through Pisces carries a particular signature. the things you have been sensing but couldn't trust, the impressions that felt too soft to hold on to, the quiet knowings that kept slipping away before you could grasp them. They start to solidify. They start to feel real again, because they were always real. Mercury retrograde in Pisces just made it harder to trust what you were receiving. Venus is in Aries right now. Mars is moving through Pisces. And Jupiter, which stationed direct on March 10th, is at 15 degrees Cancer, expanding whatever it touches from a place of emotional depth and intuitive wisdom. The collective frequency today is one of beginnings after a long interior journey. New fire after a season of water. Movement after stillness. Forward motion after weeks of turning inward. Your body felt it before the calendar told you. Here is what has actually been happening in your body for the past several weeks, and possibly the past several months. Your nervous system has been in a state called hypoarousal. This is one of the 3 primary states mapped by polyvagal theory, the framework developed by Dr. Stephen Porges that explains how your autonomic nervous system responds to perceived threat, connection, and safety. In polyvagal theory, your nervous system operates through a hierarchy of 3 distinct states, each with a different biological signature, a different subjective feeling, and a different way of relating to the world. The first state is ventral vagal. This is the state of connection, safety, and presence. When you are here, you can think clearly. You can feel warmth toward others. You can be curious instead of defensive. Your face is soft. Your voice has natural melody. You feel like yourself. The second state is sympathetic activation, what most people call fight or flight. This is the state of mobilized stress. Heart rate increases. Muscles tense. You are alert, reactive, primed for action. In twin flame separation, this shows up as the obsessive thinking, the checking his social media, the impulse to reach out, the anxiety that hums underneath everything. The third state is the dorsal vagal state, and this is where many divine feminines have been living lately. Dorsal vagal is the most ancient of the 3 states. It is the state of shutdown, of freeze, of collapse. It does not feel dramatic. It feels like numbness, like going through the motions, like a heaviness that has no clear cause, like you stopped hoping, but you also stopped feeling, and you cannot decide if that is healing or something darker. It feels like the lights being on, but nobody quite home. You have not been broken. You have been in dorsal vagal. Your nervous system registered a threat it could not fight and could not run from, a loss it could not fix, a connection it could not reach. And so it did what ancient nervous systems do when there is no viable action available. It shut down. It went quiet. It pulled the energy inward and held it there, like a tree in winter, alive but barely visible, waiting for the conditions to change. The conditions are changing now. Mercury stations direct today. The sun enters Aries. Spring crosses the threshold. And your nervous system, which has been monitoring these energetic shifts below the level of your conscious awareness, begins the first tentative movement back toward what polyvagal theory calls ventral vagal regulation, back toward safety, back toward yourself, back toward the possibility of connection. That is the exhale you felt this week. That is the shift. Your nervous system coming back online. Not all the way yet, not fully, but the thaw has started. And the thaw always feels strange at first. Limbs tingling after too long in the cold, sensation returning where there was numbness, feeling reappearing in places you had learned to protect by going numb. This is a good sign. This is actually a very good sign. You have been in hypervigilance for a long time, even when it didn't look like it from the outside, even on the days when you seemed fine. When you went to work and made dinner and talked to your friends about other things, there was a part of your nervous system running a background process it never turned off. Scanning, checking, monitoring the energetic space for information about him. Tracking signals you could not explain to anyone else. A feeling in your chest that would change without apparent cause. A heaviness that lifted some days and returned on others. a body that seemed to know things your mind refused to confirm. That constant background scanning is exhausting in a way that sleep cannot fix, because it is not mental fatigue, it is autonomic fatigue. Your nervous system, running on alert for an extended period, uses resources that rest does not easily restore. This is why you have been so tired. Not lazy, not weak, not broken. Tired in the way that only people who have been quietly holding vigil for something important understand. The divine feminine in a twin flame separation is often doing something extraordinary without any external acknowledgement. She is holding the energetic container of the connection. She is feeling, processing, and metabolizing emotional material that belongs to both of them. Because her nervous system is porous in a way his is not yet. She is the one awake at 2 a.m. with feelings she cannot source. She is the one whose body registers the shift in his energy before there is any external evidence of it. She is doing the invisible labor of keeping something alive that he is doing his best to pretend does not exist. And she does this while managing her own life, while being present for other people, while trying to make sense of an experience that does not fit inside the categories her culture gave her for understanding relationships. The weight of that is real, not metaphorical, literal. There is a physical cost to being the one who feels everything first. But here's what you need to know about what your body has been doing in these past weeks, in this retrograde fog, in this particular season of turning inward. Your nervous system has not been broken. It has been doing exactly what it was designed to do. It has been integrating, quietly, below the threshold of your conscious awareness. It has been processing the layers of this journey that your mind could not access directly. The grief that has no clear shape, the love that has no clear home, the hope you could not afford to hold consciously, and so your body held for you. This integration does not look like anything from the outside. That is why it has been so hard to trust. You cannot point to it and say, "Look, I am doing something important." You cannot show anyone the work. You have just been living inside, a quiet that felt a lot like stagnation. But it was not stagnation, it was gestation. And gestation requires the same conditions as dormancy. Stillness, dark, inward turn, held breath. That breath is releasing now. He has also been in a kind of freeze. His looks different from yours. His freeze has a harder surface on it, where your dorsal vagal state has felt like heaviness, like fog, like going through the motions. His has a more defended quality. His nervous system has been managing the same overwhelm by doing what avoidant attachment systems do under pressure. Compartmentalization, control, keeping the connection in a sealed container somewhere in the interior that he does not open because he does not trust what will happen if he does. This is not coldness. This is a nervous system that learned very early that feelings are dangerous. That vulnerability leads to pain. That the safest thing to do when something matters too much is to move away from it, manage it, reduce it to something smaller and more containable. His system learned this not because he is defective, but because of how he was shaped. Early experiences of inconsistent availability, of having his emotional needs met with confusion or withdrawal, taught his nervous system to regulate through disconnection rather than through contact. But here's what polyvagal theory reveals about this that almost nobody talks about in twin flame spaces. Avoidant nervous systems are not actually in a state of calm. They are in a state of high effort regulation. The distance he maintains is not effortless, it costs him. His heart rate when he thinks about you does not stay steady. His body does not experience the same indifference that his behavior projects. He's working very hard at an autonomic level to not feel what he feels. And the more time passes, the more that suppression costs him. Mercury retrograde in Pisces has been particularly difficult for avoidant nervous systems because Pisces dissolves boundaries and Mercury retrograde turns the mind inward. His compartments have been leaking. The sealed rooms he keeps have been harder to maintain. Things he stored away have been surfacing in dreams, in flashes of thought, in moments of unexpected feeling that he has had to quickly push back down. Venus has been in Aries since March 6th. Venus in Aries is a direct frequency. It wants what it wants, and it knows what it wants, and it does not enjoy the pretense that it doesn't. This Venus placement has been pushing against his avoidance from the feminine frequency, from the love frequency, with a kind of impatience it did not have when she was in softer signs. Aries does not wait quietly. Aries wants initiation. And his system has been feeling that pressure even without any external contact from you. And now Mercury stations direct. Now the fog lifts. Now the information starts to move again. His mind is clearing too. The things that were murky are starting to solidify. The impressions he has been dismissing as wishful thinking or weakness or distraction, they are coming into sharper focus. The memories of you that he stored in the sealed rooms are a little harder to keep sealed when the cosmic weather shifts from dissolution to clarity. He will probably not act on this immediately. The shift from dorsal vagal freeze to ventral vagal movement is not instant, it is gradual. Like ice thawing, like a limb waking up after being asleep. There is tingling before there is full sensation. There is awareness before there is action. But the process has begun. Something in him is starting to stir. His exhale is coming, it just looks slower than yours. Let's get specific about what is actually happening in your nervous system right now, because it matters for how you navigate the next several weeks. Polyvagal theory identifies what Porges calls neuroception, which is your nervous system's ability to scan the environment, including the internal environment and the social environment, for cues of safety or threat below the level of conscious awareness. You do not decide to neuroceive. It happens automatically. Your nervous system is constantly taking in information through the senses, through bodily sensation, through the energetic field, and using that information to determine which state to move into. Here is what has been happening for you. For weeks, possibly months, your neuroception has been registering threat signals, not because you're in physical danger, but because the loss of connection, the uncertainty, the not knowing registered to your primitive nervous system as a survival-level threat. Human beings are wired for connection. Our nervous systems evolved in relational context. We regulate through other people. We are literally built to co-regulate, to borrow the felt sense of safety from another nervous system when ours cannot find it alone. When the person your system is most deeply attuned to is unavailable, not just physically but energetically, that unavailability registers as threat. And so your nervous system did what threatened nervous systems do. It moved away from the ventral vagal state of connection and warmth through the sympathetic state of anxious vigilance, and eventually, when the vigilance became unsustainable, into the dorsal vagal state of conservation and shutdown. That shutdown was protective. It was your system doing its job. Conserving resources when the environment felt too uncertain to keep spending them. But here's what is remarkable. Here is what you need to sit with. Your nervous system is also capable of something called the window of tolerance, which is the zone within which you can process experience without being overwhelmed by it. And through all of the separation, through all of this fog and freeze and exhale and hold, your window of tolerance has been quietly expanding. Every moment you felt the grief and did not collapse into it. Every moment you felt the pull and did not act on it compulsively. Every moment you chose to feel something difficult and stay present anyway. You were building what therapists call nervous system capacity. The capacity to feel more without being destroyed by it. The capacity to hold complexity without needing to resolve it immediately. The capacity to love someone deeply without losing yourself in the process. This is not a small thing. Most people never develop this. Most people spend their whole lives running from the dorsal vagal freeze or the sympathetic anxious spiral, never staying long enough in the difficult feelings to build the capacity to carry them. You have been building that capacity through the hardest season of your life, without a guidebook, without external validation, without anyone who could see what you were actually doing. The astrological new year today marks a threshold. The sun entering Aries is the cosmos saying the internal season is complete. Now something new begins. Mercury stationing direct is the clearing of the communication lines. The fog lifts. The information flows. Your nervous system, newly expanded, newly capacious, begins the slow return to its natural state of ventral vagal presence. You're coming back online, and you're coming back as a larger version of yourself than you were before you went into the stillness. This is not the moment to act impulsively, even though Aries energy and Mercury direct combined will make impulse feel very attractive this week. Here is the specific guidance for the next 2 to 3 weeks as Mercury direct begins to fully clear and the equinox energy settles. First, notice where your body is still holding tension without requiring it to release on command. After a long period of freeze, the nervous system needs time to complete the thaw naturally. Forcing the release, the way some healing practices suggest, can actually dysregulate rather than integrate. Instead, just notice. Put a hand on your chest and notice what is there. Not to fix it, not to interpret it, just to acknowledge it with your attention. Your nervous system responds to being witnessed, even by you. Especially by you, with a gradual softening. This is what somatic practitioners call titration. Small, sustainable doses of contact with the experience rather than trying to process everything at once. Second, this is not the week to make the big decision about him. I know Aries energy is whispering in your ear that it is. I know Mercury direct makes everything feel clearer, and the impulse to act on that clarity feels righteous. But the clarity that comes immediately after Mercury stations direct is still sorting itself out. The real clarity, the settled, grounded, bone-deep clarity comes in the week following, not the day of. Let the information land before you move on it. Third, pay attention to the moments this week when you feel, even briefly, genuinely like yourself. Laughing at something, enjoying food, being present in a conversation without the background hum of him taking up most of the bandwidth. Notice those moments and anchor them. Not because you are supposed to be over it or moving on, but because your nervous system needs to register that ventral vagal safety is possible, that there are moments when your system can breathe. The more you consciously register those moments, the more your system learns that they are achievable, and the more your baseline begins to shift. Fourth, and this is important, do not interpret the exhale as a sign that you no longer care. Some of you will feel this release of tension this week and immediately panic. You will think, why am I not thinking about him constantly anymore? Does that mean the connection is fading? Does that mean I have finally stopped feeling? Do not confuse the release of anxious vigilance with the release of love. You can love someone deeply and also let your shoulders drop. The two are not in conflict. In fact, the deepest love is the love that can exist without constant vigilance. The love that does not need to grip. The love that trusts the connection enough to breathe. Your nervous system releasing the freeze is not goodbye. It is your system finally trusting at the level beneath words that the connection is real enough to survive. You not white-knuckling it every moment, that is not distance, that is security. And secure love is the precondition for the reunion the journey is building toward. Here is what the equinox really means for you right now. The spring equinox is not just a calendar event. It is a biological shift. Your body knows the equinox before your calendar tells you. Light changing, temperature changing, something in the ground and the air and the rhythm of day and night calibrating back toward balance and then tipping into the longer days. Human nervous systems evolved in response to these seasonal shifts. The equinox registers somewhere below the level of thought as a signal. Winter is complete. Something new is allowed to begin. In the context of your twin flame journey, this equinox falls at the end of one of the most interior, disorienting, quietly demanding seasons many of you have ever navigated. The eclipse in early March, the Mercury retrograde fog through Pisces, the Saturn-Neptune conjunction in Aries asking you to hold both structure and dissolution at the same time, both the dream and the discipline, both the faith and the reality. That is a lot to hold. You have been holding it. The equinox today does not erase what the winter asked of you. It completes it. It seals it. It says, you held the dark long enough. Now look, the light is returning. And you get to step into it as someone different from who you were when the dark began. Polyvagal theory, in its deepest application, is not just a theory about threat and safety responses. It is a theory about the capacity for connection. And connection in this framework is not a luxury or a nicety. It is a biological need, as fundamental as food or warmth. Your nervous system is built to seek it, to orient toward it, to expand in the presence of it, to do extraordinary things in order to restore it when it has been lost. You have been doing those extraordinary things, quietly, without applause, without a roadmap, in the dark. The exhale you felt this week is your system saying, I am ready to begin again. Not from scratch, not from zero, from exactly where you are, which is further along than you think, more expanded than you feel, more ready than you know. He is going to feel this shift in you. He may not understand it yet. He may not have language for why your energy suddenly feels different, why the quality of you and his awareness has changed, why there is something in the field that feels like space rather than pressure, like invitation rather than waiting. But his nervous system will register it, because twin flame nervous systems are entangled in a way that polyvagal theory is only beginning to find the language for. What shifts in your system lands in his, not always immediately, but it lands. This equinox, this Mercury direct, this Sun and Aries moment is the cosmos putting a full stop at the end of one chapter. You do not have to know what the next chapter holds to feel the relief of the sentence completing. The sentence completed. You are still here. You are breathing again. That is everything. The door is not closing. The door is opening. And you are the one who, through all of this, kept yourself capable of walking through it. That is not small. That is the whole journey. If this reached you today, leave a like and hit subscribe so this community stays in your field. Drop my body nose in the comments. Tell me what shifted for you this week. I read them. I see you. And I will see you in the next one. If you have been feeling called to understand your specific journey at a deeper level, the Twin Flame Union personal reading is open and waiting for you. Your birth chart, your cosmic blueprint, your truth. The link is in the description.